Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Heavy Water 77, All Things, Everything Sticks. I am one half of this fine show, Jerry, and let me introduce my awesome co-host in the Motorhead shirt. Motorhead,
Yeah.
me like Paul Stanley when he did that. You ever see that interview where he was the guy who had an Iron Maiden shirt, and Paul Stanley was like, "What are you doing wearing that?" That was kind of a jerk move on his part. Anyway, man, how you doing, dude?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, man. Looking nervous about my hockey team tonight, but that's a different story. We'll talk about that. Hopefully next week I'll be in a really good mood by the next episode. But I want to do a shout out real quick to the group on Sticks World on Facebook. Man, they've been good to us. There's some cool people. I've been bugging them with a lot of lyrics and stuff like that, and they've been responding. So I want to shout out to them. They're a really cool group. If you're on Facebook and you're a Sticks fan and you're not part of it, I recommend highly that you check them out. Anyway, well, let's get to the subject at hand real quick. No more fooling around. Last week we did the debut album Styx, and today we're going to be doing Styx II. Before we go any further, one more thing I want to add is you know what, Styx is always known to have interesting covers. Now, I don't like criticizing Styx very much, but I absolutely hate the cover of this album. I do. First of all, it's like these little pieces here. We try to put them in plastic always get caught on the plastic and they bend and rip. And I hate the way the record comes out here. I know I'm bitching about something stupid, I know, but there's an album coming out later on in our reviews that is absolutely even worse. And I think Joseph knows what that is. And you probably know what it is too if you're a real big Six fan. But anyway, well, let's get down to this album, Joseph. What do you got on this album, background wise?
Yeah, so this is directly following what we talked about last week with the debut Styx album. This album was made in very close succession to that album. They were almost made at a very similar time. Um, it was known right from the beginning that this album wasn't going to be hinging on any kind of success of the first album. Wood and Nickel already knew that there was going to be immediate planning for a second album. And so, in the songwriting process for the first album, there was one song in particular that we'll get to later on this album that was actually being written by Dennis DeYoung during the first album sessions, and the label said, "Hold on to that. We're doing it on the second album. We're not doing that on the first album. Hold on to it. The second album is going to feature a lot more of your guys' songs." So they were already kind of in planning for this album when the first album was being done. Now, this album was recorded between 1972 and 1973 at the Paragon in Chicago, the same place the first album was recorded. It was produced again by John Ryan and Bill Trout, who produced the first album. This time, Bill Trout was acting a little bit more as an executive producer than as a hands on producer like he was during the first album. This album was released in July of 1973 and actually did pretty decent on the charts at the time. This would go on to be the only one of the Wood and Nickel albums that would chart highly, and it would eventually go gold as well later on in the 70s. And so this was a pretty popular album, and I'm sure we all know why. Uh, but we'll get to that later on. Um, Other than that, there's not as much background on this album as there was for the first album, all the leading up to the first album. This was more of a just, all right, first album came out, we're going right back in, we're doing the second album. As a lot of bands did at that time in the 70s. It was quick pumping out albums, a couple albums a year sometimes. So this was a pretty quick turnaround from the first album. And in my opinion, a little bit of a spoiler alert here. I think this is a massive step up from the first album in terms of quality of songs. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. Is there anything you wanted to
Yeah.
discuss with the background here, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with that last statement. This is definitely better than their first album. I mean, not just because of the hit on the album, but just because the writing I think is so much better. And actually, this is one of the only albums up until is it Crash or The Mission? I
Yeah,
can't remember that
Crash.
JY has no writing credits on any album. He does sing a few of these songs, but he has no writing credits. And it actually features two songs from John Serluski that are we'll talk about them when they come along. So he's got some writing credits and some vocal credits as well in this album. As I said before, this is definitely a step up from the first album. This is actually my favorite album of the Wood and Nickel era. It's actually one of my favorite albums by them. So Yeah, let's get into talking about it. We'll start out with the opening track. You Need Love, man. What do you got on that one?
Yeah, so this was the actually the second single released from the album, but surprisingly, it was not released as a single until almost 2 years later. It
Yeah, I
wasn't released
saw
as a
that.
single until May of '75.
I was looking at the years. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Yeah, all of a sudden that's yeah,
When I was reading up on it, they released it in May of '75 because of the success of the first single.
right.
They, when we get to that song, I'll talk a little bit about like what happened there, how it blew up. But "You Need Love" was eventually released as the second single almost 2 years later. The song peaked at number 88 on the charts, and I think it's an awesome up tempo opener. The harmonies are awesome. I love the vocal harmonies on it. Great guitar playing and the electric piano work as well really pairs well. And if you really listen closely, Chuck Panazzo on the bass is killing this song. His bass lines on this song in particular are just so good. You can hear these grunges going on with the bass, and it just sounds so great. I think this is a perfect opener for this album. This song actually came up on my shuffle a couple days ago. I shuffled my entire phone, and this song came up before I sat down to really kind of give a full listen to the album. I'm like, oh, I'm in for a good one this time, I think.
Right.
So I really love this opening song. What do you think about it, Jerry?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I mean, any song with cool ba 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 da ba ba, that is if you do it well, it sounds
Yeah,
great, and they do it really well here, harmony wise. I agree with you, man. Of course, it's written by Dennis, sung by JY, as you mentioned. Yeah, I agree. It's a great opening track, and I had the same notes you do about the Pan. I got both Panasos on this song, and like I said it before, during the whole Wood and Nickel catalog, they're amazing, and they were kind of neutered on the later arena rock stuff because, like I said, with radio music, kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Dilutes people's playing sometimes, I guess, to make it
yeah.
radio friendly, I guess. But
It radio hits usually feature the guitar as the prime or a piano as like the primary instruments and kind of tone the rhythm section down a little bit.
yes. Um, yeah, and the harmony guitar playing with JY and JC on are off the charts, as a lot of their songs are on this album and the Wood and Nickel catalog. So yeah, I agree with you. It's a great track. So then we move on to this little known track that I never heard of until we started doing this debut. It's a song called Lady.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will ever know about this one. But yeah, I mean, of course, this is if people that are fans of Styx only know one song from the Wood and Nickel albums, it's this. Because it's a mainstay in the set list still. It's the only Wood and Nickel song that they played past I think 1977. At that point, when the Grand Illusion came out, was when they dropped all the Wood and Nickel songs from the set except for this one.
But is it a
Um,
Wood and Nickel version they do nowadays?
Nowadays, that might be argued a little bit, but um, it's still the song, the basis
True.
of the
I
song.
know. I'm just playing.
But this, uh, contrary to popular belief, even though it was released as the first single from the album in 1973, did not become a hit until almost 2 years later. It wasn't until the band had already left Wood and Nickel this song became a hit. It was before Equinox came out, but it was after they had left Wood and Nickel and signed with A&M Records. They were pretty upset, and eventually we'll kind of talk about the reason that they left Wood and Nickel. But they were fairly upset with how little Wood and Nickel was really promoting them. And turns out, I think somebody said the label put $160 of promotion on this album. That was it, and it was the only promotion they did was paying $160 to mail out the album to like radio stations. That's it. That's the only promotion they did for this album. Um,
That's what I want back in
and
me.
yeah, and then it's funny because when this song eventually became a hit, Styx put a magazine ad out, and it said, "Thank you RCA Records for making our song a hit."
Yeah.
It didn't say "Thank you Wood Nickel." It said "Thank you RCA Records for making
Yeah.
our song a hit." So they were a little bit upset, and they actually went to a radio station in Chicago, handed them this 45, and said, "You're going to play this song." And that's how it eventually became a hit, blew up nationwide by 1975, right as they're getting ready to release Equinox. So that kind of was what snowballed their And then eventually, as I said, You Need Love will be released as a single and chart as well. This actually hit number 6, so it was a top 10 single in 1975. And I mean, this is just an all-time classic. This is it's an amazing song. It was really the reason that Dennis became the front man of Styx. This song is kind of why.
And he'll
Like we,
let you know that this was a
oh
song that
yeah,
got the whole train going
it
anytime.
well,
And
yep.
it's true, I guess, to a
He
certain point. So
it
yeah,
is, but he
give
won't
him
let
credit.
anyone live that one down.
Exactly.
Like we talked about last week on the first album, JY was kind of the front man.
Mhm.
And then on this album, it's a little bit more equally distributed. JY sings 2 songs, JC sings 2 songs, Dennis sings the rest. So it's a little bit more equal distribution. And then when this became a hit, if you notice, almost all the singles after this song became a hit, who sings them?
Yeah.
So I think this is a great song. I never get tired of hearing this song, and I think it's just it. If they had to have a hit from these early albums, I think this is a perfect song for them to get big off of.
Right.
What do you think about it, Jerry?
Yeah, it's definitely, if not their best song, the most popular song in our opinion. Because we're diehard Styx fan, we probably prefer maybe even some deep tracks over this song. But popularity wise, it's definitely up there as
Yeah.
far as in their catalog. Yeah, this is it's just when you hear a classic power ballad, this is it. I mean, it's got everything it needs. It's got great vocals, and all you hear as the people think all they hear is the piano in the quiet part, but you hear this great acoustic guitar playing in the background, this really nice clean guitar played by JY. Just a well, and that bass line again by Chuck over it, that slow part, it's just amazing, I think. And this is a classic. I never get tired of it. Um, it's only like what 2.5 minutes long, but it's got
Yeah,
a
it's a
lot of
short
changes
song.
in it. Because the first chorus it's got the standard, da-na-na-na-na, da-na. And the second chorus to the end, it's got that da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool, man. I dig that a lot. I think that's so cool. And you mentioned well, we'll get to Lady 95 when we get to that era, but it is the only song I think they would even consider playing off the Wood and Nickel era
Mm-hmm.
ever, probably. Even Dennis Solo didn't do anything really, as far as I've seen him twice, never did anything except for Lady. But yeah, it's a great song. A great ending solo by JY yet again. Classic, man. I mean, no doubt. So we'll move on to the next song, which is A Day. The first time we get to hear John Sterlewski's input on the band. What do you think?
I mean, talk about a song that really just kind of came out of left field for me. This not being as familiar with these early albums as I am with some of the later stuff. These are the kind of songs that I maybe heard a couple times, but never really like gave a lot of time to. And then when I sat down to listen to this album for our review, I mean, this one just hit me across the side of the head. It is such a great track. I mean, I think John Serluski has a great voice. No one ever really talks about him as a singer. You hear people talk about Dennis and JY, and then of course when Tommy comes in,
Some other guy
um,
that joins them later.
yeah. But I don't think people give JC nearly enough
No.
credit as a vocalist or a songwriter. I think that he sounds amazing on this. You can definitely hear we talked about it on our last episode what sort of influences each one of the main members at the time had. And you can definitely hear the progressive rock coming through here on this song in particular. And I think it's amazing. It's a very proggy, very cool song. It's one of the 2 sort of epics on the album. And I really, this is probably my second favorite song on the album. I think it's a really great track. I'm interested to see going forward uh, if any of the other JC songs kind of hit me the same way on the future albums. But so far, for his first contribution in the Styx discography, I think he hit a home run on this one. Amazing track.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love the feel of the song. It's proggy and kind of jazzy at the same time. And is JC a good vocalist? Vocalist as Tommy? Probably not, but he's definitely good. Um, it's just the mellow sound, the mellow pace of this song, and a lot of stuff going on too with the synthesizers and effects, the echo effects, especially when you go that time goes real high. Love
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah. What else do I got here, man? La, 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 la. I love the chorus, very catchy. Listen to the. I mean, it's just So cool. And there's this really cool, even more jazzy part around, towards the end, which hit me out of nowhere out there. And as it goes back into the original pace of the song, it's just so cool and so flows so well. It's a long song, but it's a great song and I absolutely love it. So we'll move on to the next song, which is another John C. song, You Better Ask. Yeah, it's a funny song, actually.
Yeah, this is another great one in my opinion. Cool way to close out side one of this album. I think JC sounds great on this one as well. The last song was more of a like traditional kind of progressive rock kind of epic song. This one is a more of a straightforward kind of up tempo rock song with some really cool progressive elements in it. You can hear that progressiveness still in it, but it's a more straightforward rock song. Some amazing guitar work on this track. Like you said, it's a little bit funnier with the lyrics and stuff and with JC's delivery, but I think that this is still a really, really great up tempo song. Great way to close out side one.
Yeah, the first four songs in this album are just incredible. I agree with you. Again, another cool kind of mid-tempo rocker, a great vocal delivery by John. And you mentioned the John C kind of had like a comedy kind of with some of his songs, especially one on the next album. But yeah, just getting that call saying, "Uh-oh, you're gonna be a Papa John." I love that. It's funny. And then goes to the doctor and he has a communicable disease. Just really funny subject matter. It's a great song. And it's got a really cool solo because it starts out with Dennis's keyboard playing. It goes into John's solo, which is God, it's so good, so good. And John Panassa using that cowbell all the way through it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a great song and a great composition, a great way to end side one. So we will move on to side two. That was Styx II. All right, I put these two together. I put the little I can never pronounce that word.
Fugue.
Fugue,
Fugue.
Fugue, Fugue in G and Father OSA, which I guess stands for the Order of Saint Augustine, if
Mm-hmm.
I know my Catholic Church. Anyway, what do you got to say about this song?
This is really kind of, in my opinion, a precursor to a more famous duo of songs on a later Styx album, a song that has a short kind of instrumental intro into a epic Dennis DeYoung song. Um, but the Little Fugue in G is a interpolation of Johann Sebastian Bach. It's basically just like an organ solo with a little bit of guitar work in it as well. I think it's really cool. It's really Dennis's first time using like a straightforward organ sound on this album, and it just segues right into the next one, Father OSA. This is my favorite song on the album. I think this is just an awesome, epic track. Dennis's organ work on this is phenomenal. His vocals, I think this is really like where Dennis shines vocally on the album. I think I love how he is on Lady, but like Dennis's vocals on Lady to me are what is like stereotypical Dennis that people complain about sometimes. The people that aren't Styx fans complain about Dennis's voice. They're complaining about Lady. I think if they listen to something like Father OSA, that vocal that Dennis does on that song, I think is one of the best vocals I've heard him do. I think he sounds amazing on it. There's some great acoustic playing from JC on here. Overall, just all the instrumentation is just phenomenal. A truly amazing epic track that would, again, like I said, foreshadow something that's coming up in about three albums.
Yeah,
But I
a
really, really love
prelude to something
a
else.
prelude, possibly. But this is my favorite song on the album. I think this is an amazing track. I think that the band is firing on all cylinders here. Um, but I think it's just really, really great track. What do you think about
Yeah,
Little Fugue and Father OSA?
yeah, I agree with everything you say. I mean, he did. I mean, Dennis has done little fugue and G a few times with Styx and solo as he segues in the Lady, I believe, if I remember my concerts right. But yeah, I agree. This is a great song. It seems like Dennis's songs on this album seem to deal with him growing up, maybe because the song is definitely maybe kind of about his experiences with religion and faith and
Mm-hmm.
all that. And you mentioned JC's guitar, his acoustic playing during the verses, those little runs he does. As a guitarist, as a musician, you look for these little things in songs, and when you hear something that really blows your mind, it's what happens in this song. It's a great composition all the way around. The the main harmony guitar riff, that bam, 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 is just so cool. And the band is just firing at all cylinders here, like you mentioned. So much to like about this song. And I love John Panase's drumming at the end when he does that dun 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 dun, this little drum dun 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 dun, all those drum fills are on there. Just adds to this song. You never get the same stuff off any of these songs. There's always something different coming up, and that's what I love about this album and this song. I agree with you. I think it's one of Dennis's best vocals and one of his best songs. So I have nothing but agree with you on that one. So we move on to the next song, which is another Dennis song, Earl of Roseland.
This is a cool song. If I had to pick a least favorite song on the album, this would probably be it. But I still think it's a great track. I think it's if you compare it to the last album where there was a couple songs that I really just wasn't a big fan of. I don't think there's anything like that on this album. I think that even my least favorite track, I still think there's a lot to love about it. Like you said, this also has to deal with Dennis growing up. It talks a lot about his childhood, and I think it's just still a really cool rocking track, especially what really grabbed me was the outro guitar solo. I think that there's just some absolutely great shredding going on at the end of this song that really takes it up a couple notches for me. I think that the song's pretty average, but then that shredding at the end just really takes it, adds a couple points to it for me.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna like this a little bit better than you do. I really, really, really do like this song. As you mentioned, it's definitely about Dennis's, new friends or whatever you want to call it, acquaintances growing up. I think it's a great song. Has that awesome Styx sounding chorus. It's huge, it's big, it's theatrical. I mean, I can't do it. I'll fuck it up. But great guitar fills yet again. Um, just a it's a short song, but it's a great song in my opinion. Not really a whole lot, to talk about instrumentally. But since you mentioned the solo, which is good, but it's a cool tune. It just is another addition to this fabulous album, dude. And I think it's a great song. So with that being said, let's move on to the final song, which is "I'm Gonna Make You Feel It."
Yeah, this is a great way to wrap up the album. This is the way that I thought the last album should have ended, like we talked about with the two tracks that I would have flipped. This is a great way to end the album, in my opinion. I think it's a great, heavy JY rocker. Again, written by Dennis because JY had no songwriting contributions to this album. But this is a JY song through and through. I think he has an amazing vocal on it, great rocker, great instrumentation, like all the songs on this album. The band just fire on all cylinders. Awesome way to close out the album, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you. This is like how it starts out with "You Need Love," finishes with the same type of song, and "I'm Gonna Make You Feel It." JY, great vocalist back in the day. Still is, well, still was during the whole career, but didn't really have much to do after the Wood and Nickel, as far as vocally anyway. But I always thought he was a great singer. I'd loved, like I said, I loved the difference in vocals all three of these guys had, but together they sound amazing. And that's going to continue all through their careers, all through the Styx career, excuse me. Short and sweet, but perfect ending to a great album. You mentioned everything about the song that I like. Absolute great album in my opinion. But so that's our review of Styx II, which I think we both agree is a really, really good album. And from what I've heard from people when I posted this on the groups, that they agree that it's an exceptional album, big step up from their first album. So yeah.
There is one more track that we're going to talk about, though.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. We're gonna do Unfinished Song, which is on the Apple version and the the reissued CD, I believe. And it's on that one too. It's on that compilation. But
It was originally
I
the B side of Best Thing, I
yeah,
think.
but I definitely think this song deserves some recognition. What do you think about it?
I think it's an amazing track. I wish that this song would have been on one of the albums. I think it was. I think I read that it was on a reissue of Man of Miracles, I believe.
It is.
It was added on to a reissue of Man of Miracles, which is weird because it was a B side from their first
Yeah.
album, put on their fourth album. Um, but I mean, I think this is a great track. This is a song that I didn't really know that much, but when I listen to it, I just think it's phenomenal. It is a really cool Dennis track. I love his vocals on it. It's a more kind of like stripped back song, but I think it's just a really, really catchy, great song. And I wish it would have been included. And I really hope that more people are able to find this song.
Oh, I agree with you. Why? I mean, why would they take this song off an album? It's incredible, slower, ballady, mid rock. Actually, I consider it a ballad, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then it's an amazing chorus, an amazing written song. I love it. This song actually gives me goosebumps when I hear it. It's such an incredibly sung and emotional song. I think they took Lies off the Wood and Nickel version and put this on instead,
Mm.
which is probably in hindsight the best move because that's an incredible song and it definitely, like you said, I wish more people knew this song because it is such an incredible song by Dennis. And I said it before and I'll say it again probably 1,000 more times. This is Dennis's wheelhouse. So I mean, he can sing fast songs too. Don't get me wrong, don't get me wrong. We'll be coming up to that later, but his wheelhouse is definitely these ballads and slow rockers, and he nails it. So I'm serious. If you haven't heard this song, check it out. You can get it on the iTunes version on or that one. I'm just saying, if you got your headphones on and you're like going through your phone, give it a listen. It's a great song. I was mesmerized by it when I first heard it. So I think you guys will too. All right, so that's our review of Styx II. Thank you, Joseph, again for correcting me. That's what I said. That's why Joseph goes. He's the fact checker and the mistake pointer area, which I love about him, and I don't mind being corrected if necessary. So, all right, our next album review will be "The Serpent Is Rising." Looking forward to talk about that one. That's a very interesting third album. Is it as good as this album? Does it hold water compared to the previous two albums? We'll find out. So, any last words, Joe?
Yeah, thank you guys again for all the love we've been getting for our first two episodes. Really hope you enjoy our review of the first album and now this album as well. I know a couple of people were like, "What? You didn't?" Uh, that Jerry only gave the first album an 8. I'm
Yeah,
like, don't look at what I gave it, but I hope you'll appreciate that we gave very high remarks on this album. Um, and that you'll stick with us as we go along through the Styx catalog because not every album is a 10 out of 10. And I think we can all admit that every band has some missteps in their catalog or albums that just aren't quite as good as other albums. So we'll hope you'll join us through all of the highs and lows of the Styx catalog. And I hope you'll agree with us that there are a lot of highs to cover yet. So really appreciate all the love and really would love, just like Jerry has been saying, anything that you guys want to hear from us, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think of the episodes, what we could be doing better, or anything that you might want to hear from us, hear us talk about in the future. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. We're really trying to get this off the ground, and we really appreciate all the support so far.
yeah. You know what? Negative comments are fine. We love to hear, your criticisms. We're not going to agree on everything, so please feel free to leave something like that. I don't mind it at all. I think it's great that we're all honest about everything. And I can say that I like every Styx song, which I don't. There's some of that. There's a couple of albums that you're probably going to hate me for when we review them when we get to them. So yes, keep the comments coming and please, 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 please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We have a great time doing this. I have a great co-host, and there's the Sticks community I think is awesome. So thank you very much. And we will see you for The Serpent is Rising. That is next. Thank you guys. You all take care. Be good to each other.